There is a strange sentence being repeated inside boardrooms right now. It does not sound dramatic. It does not sound like science fiction. It does not sound like the beginning of a new labor economy. It sounds like this: can we use agents for that? A customer support queue is getting too long. Can we use agents for that? The sales team is drowning in follow-ups. Can we use agents for that? The finance team spends days checking invoices. Can we use agents for that? The HR team answers the same policy questions every week. Can we use agents for that? The legal team is slowing down contracts. Can we use agents for that? The marketing team needs more campaigns with fewer people. Can we use agents for that? The IT team is flooded with internal requests. Can we use agents for that? This is why every company suddenly wants AI agents, not because executives woke up one morning and fell in love with artificial intelligence, not because every CEO understands transformers, tokens, vector databases, model routing, or orchestration frameworks, not because every company has a brilliant AI strategy. The real reason is simpler. Companies are overloaded. Every department has more work than people. Every software stack has too many tools. Every manager wants faster output. Every customer wants instant service. Every investor wants better margins. Every employee wants fewer repetitive tasks. Every CFO wants growth without hiring too many people. For years, companies solved this problem the same way. Hire more people, buy more software, add more process, create another dashboard, schedule another meeting, outsource the boring work, build another team, add another manager. That model is cracking. The modern company is buried under its own complexity. There are too many tickets, too many emails, too many tools, too many forms, too many approvals, too many reports, too many manual handoffs, too many repetitive decisions, too many people moving information from one system into another system and calling it work. AI agents are attractive because they promise something every company wants: work that moves by itself. That is the dream. Not a chatbot that gives advice. Not a search box that finds a document. Not a dashboard that shows a problem. Not a copilot that waits for a human to ask a question. An agent that can understand a goal, check information, use tools, take steps, update systems, ask for approval when needed, and keep going. That is the difference. A chatbot answers. An agent acts. A chatbot says, "Here is how you could handle this customer complaint." An agent says, "I checked the order, found the delay, sent the apology, issued the credit, updated the ticket, and flagged the shipping issue." A chatbot says, "Here are some ways to follow up with this sales lead." An agent says, "I researched the company, wrote the email, scheduled the reminder, updated the CRM, and routed the lead to the right account executive." A chatbot says, "Here is what this invoice probably means." An agent says, "I matched it to the purchase order, found a price mismatch, asked the manager for approval, and prepared the payment method." That is why companies suddenly care. Agents are not interesting because they talk like humans. They are interesting because they can behave like tiny workers inside software. They do not need a desk. They do not need a calendar invite. They do not need a lunch break. They do not complain about the same spreadsheet every Friday. They do not get tired of copying data from one system to another. They do not forget to follow up. They do not mind checking 10,000 records. That does not mean they are perfect. They are not. They make mistakes. They need guardrails. They can misunderstand context. They can create security problems. They can be overtrusted. They can break workflows at scale. They can turn a small error into a big operational mess. But companies are not waiting for perfection. They are asking a colder question. Is this good enough to reduce costs, speed up work, and keep us competitive? If the answer is yes, the agent gets a pilot. If the pilot works, the workflow changes. If the workflow changes, the department changes. If enough departments change, the company changes. That is the real story. AI agents are not just a new software category. They are a new argument about how companies should be organized. And every company suddenly wants them because every company feels the same pressure. Do more. Move faster. Spend less. Serve customers better. Grow without adding headcount. Turn messy work into automated workflows. That pressure is not going away. It is getting stronger. For a long time, software made work more visible. Agents promised to make work move. That is why the agent race has begun. To understand why this happened so quickly, we need to remember what the last wave of AI actually did. The first wave of generative AI entered companies like a very smart intern. It could draft emails, summarize documents, write code snippets, create outlines, explain concepts, generate marketing copy, turn meeting notes into action items, brainstorm product names, translate text, rewrite messages. This was useful, but it still depended on a person sitting there asking, copying, pasting, checking, and moving the output into another tool. The human remained the engine. The AI helped with pieces of the work, but the person still had to drive. That is why many companies hit a strange wall after the first excitement. Employees tried chatbots. Some loved them. Some ignored them. Some used them secretly. Some produced more drafts. Some saved time. Some created terrible AI-written emails. Some companies ran pilots. Some bought subscriptions. Some formed AI committees. Some made internal guidelines. But after the hype, executives asked, "Where is the transformation?" The answer was uncomfortable. A chatbot can make an individual more productive, but it does not automatically change the company. The company does not run on isolated answers. It runs on workflows. A customer request comes in. It needs to be classified. It needs data. It needs a decision. It needs an action. It needs a record. It may need approval. It may need follow-up. It may need reporting. A single chatbot response is not enough. The work has to move through systems. This is why agents became the next obsession. Agents promise to move from content creation to workflow execution. Write this. To handle this, that is a massive shift. It turns AI from a helper into an operator. Not an operator with unlimited freedom. Not a robot CEO. Not some science fiction being making every decision. A bounded operator. A software worker with permissions, tools, rules, memory, and oversight. That is what companies actually want. They do not want magic. They want fewer bottlenecks. If a company can remove a bottleneck, it makes money. This is the secret behind the agent boom. It is not really about intelligence. It is about bottleneck. Customer support is a bottleneck. Sales follow-up is a bottleneck. Contract review is a bottleneck. Expense approval is a bottleneck. Recruiting coordination is a bottleneck. IT ticket resolution is a bottleneck. Data analysis is a bottleneck. Report creation is a bottleneck. Compliance checking is a bottleneck. Procurement is a bottleneck. Onboarding is a bottleneck. Every bottleneck slows revenue, service, decisions, or operations. Agents are being sold as bottleneck killers. That is the business pitch. Now let us walk through what this looks like inside a company. Imagine a medium-sized software business with 14 employees. The CEO says the company must grow revenue by %% next year. The CFO says hiring cannot grow at the same pace. The support team says ticket volume is already too high. The sales team says leads are being missed. The marketing team says it needs more campaign. The finance team says month-end close is painful. The HR team says onboarding is inconsistent. The legal team says contracts are piling up. The IT team says internal requests are out of control. The data team says everyone wants reports yesterday. This company does not need a robot that can write poetry. It needs work to stop getting stuck. So the company starts with one agent, a support triage agent. It reads new tickets. It detects the issue. It checks the customer's plan. It pulls recent account history. It searches the help center. It drafts a response. It suggests a resolution. If the case is simple, it closes it. If the customer is angry, high value, or legally sensitive, it escalates. Then they supervise fewer cases. Then the easy cases stop reaching humans at all. The queue shrinks. The support team is impressed. The CFO is more impressed. Then sales wants one, a sales research agent. It checks inbound lead. It finds company size. It looks for funding news. It checks job postings. It identifies likely pain points. It writes a personalized note. It updates the CRM. It schedules a follow-up. It alerts the sales rep when the lead looks serious. The sales team says it saves hours. The revenue leader says pipeline response time improved. The CFO sees that revenue operations can scale without hiring as many junior reps. Then finance wants one, an invoice agent. It reads incoming invoices. It matches vendor names. It compares purchase orders. It checks contract terms. It flags duplicate. It routes exceptions. It prepares payment records. It updates the accounting system. Month-end close gets faster. Then HR wants one, an onboarding agent. It sends documents. It answers common policy questions. It schedules training. It reminds managers. It checks whether access has been granted. It collects forms. It updates the HR system. New employees feel less lost. Then legal wants one, a contract review agent. It compares standard terms. It flags risky clauses. It summarizes obligations. It prepares read lines. It routes unusual issues to lawyers. Sales cycles get shorter. Now something important happens. The CEO stops seeing agents as tools. The CEO starts seeing agents as a new operating model. That is the moment every vendor wants, because once a company believes agents are not just a feature but a new way to run workflows, the budget changes. A team buying a chatbot might spend a little. A company redesigning work around agents might spend a lot. That is why every major software company is suddenly talking about agents. Salesforce, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, ServiceNow, Oracle, SAP, Workday, HubSpot, Atlassian, Adobe, Snowflake, Databricks, OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, dozens of startups. They all see the same opportunity. The old software business was use our tool. The new agent business is let our agent do the work inside your tool. That is a much stronger pitch. Software used to sell seats. Agents may sell labor. This is the business. A seat means a human uses the software. An agent means the software performs a task. For decades, enterprise software companies charged per user. More employees meant more seats. More seats meant more revenue. AI agents create a new pricing dream. Charge per conversation, per resolved ticket, per qualified lead, per invoice processed, per contract reviewed, per workflow completed, per agent action, per digital worker. This is why software companies love the agent story. It may let them escape the limits of seat-based pricing. If one human can supervise 10 agents, the old seat model does not capture all the value. The vendor wants to charge for the work done, not just the humans logged in. This is why the phrase digital labor is showing up everywhere. It sounds futuristic. It is also a pricing strategy. If software can be framed as labor, it can be priced against labor. A company may hesitate to pay $200 per user for another software tool. But if an agent can handle the work of a support rep, a sales assistant, or an operations coordinator, the buyer compares it to salary cost. That changes the conversation. The vendor does not say, our software is cheaper than other software. The vendor says, our agent is cheaper than the work you are currently paying humans to do manually. That is much more powerful. This is why every company suddenly wants AI agents. The buyers want productivity. The sellers want a new business model. The investors want a new growth story. The cloud providers want more compute usage. The model companies want more inference demand. The consultants want transformation projects. The executives want margin improvement. Everyone has a reason. When incentives line up like that, trends move fast. But there is a problem. Most companies are not ready. Their data is messy. Their software tools do not talk to each other. Their workflows are poorly documented. Their permissions are chaotic. Their managers disagree on rules. Their employees have workarounds nobody wrote down. Their customer data is scattered. Their processes rely on informal judgment. Their legacy systems are fragile. Their security teams are nervous. Their legal teams are cautious. Their CFOs want ROI before spending too much. This is why the agent boom has two stories at once: the demo story and the deployment story. The demo story is beautiful. An agent books a meeting. An agent handles a ticket. An agent writes code. An agent updates a CRM. An agent answers a customer. An agent creates a report. The deployment story is harder. What data can the agent access? What if the data is wrong? What system can it update? Who approves the action? How are mistakes logged? What if the agent sends the wrong message? What if it leaks customer data? What if it follows a bad instruction? What if someone tricks it? What if it gets stuck? Who is responsible? How do we measure success? How do we stop it? The demo takes 5 minutes. The deployment takes months. That is the gap every company is now facing. They want agents because the promise is obvious. They struggle with agents because the enterprise is messy. This is why consultants are circling the market. Agent ICA is not just a software sale. It is a business process redesign project. Companies have to map workflow, clean data, define permissions, set escalation rules, create monitoring, train employees, rewrite policies, integrate systems, measure outcomes, build governance. In plain English, before an agent can do the work, the company has to understand the work. Many companies do not. They know what the department is called. They do not know how the work really moves. A customer support process may have 20 unofficial shortcuts. A finance process may depend on one person who knows which vendor always submits bad invoices. An HR process may rely on a manager texting someone outside the official system. A sales process may contain exceptions that are never documented. A legal process may depend on judgment no software can easily capture. Agents expose the truth. If your workflow is clean, agents can help. If your workflow is chaos, agents automate chaos. This is why the companies that win with agents will not simply be the companies that buy the most AI. They will be the companies that understand their operations best. That is a very important point. OI does not remove the need for management. It punishes bad management. If your processes are unclear, your agents will be unclear. If your data is messy, your agents will act on messy data. If your goals are bad, your agents will optimize bad goals. If your incentives are broken, your agents may make the broken system fast. A company can use agents to become smarter. It can also use agents to become more efficiently stupid. That is the risk. Now let us talk about the departments most exposed. The first is customer service. This is the obvious starting point. Customer service has high volume. Repeated questions, clear records, measurable outcomes, and strong cost pressure. Where is my order? Can I get a refund? How do I reset my password? Why was I charged? Can I change my plan? When will this ship? How do I update my account? Why is this feature not working? Many of these issues can be handled with the right data and rules. A support agent can read the request, search knowledge bases, check account details, answer, escalate, or take limited action. This is why customer service is often the first agent use case. The ROI is easy to understand. Reduce ticket volume. Reduce wait time. Improve first response time. Lower cost per case. Increase customer satisfaction if the experience is good. But support automation can backfire. If the agent blocks human, customers get angry. If it gives wrong answers, trust falls. If it misunderstands emotional cases, the company looks cold. If it optimizes for closing tickets instead of solving problems, metrics look good while customers leave. The best support agents will not replace humans completely. They will filter, resolve simple issues, gather context, and give human agents better information. The support team becomes smaller in some areas and more specialized in others. That is the pattern. AI handles volume. Humans handle judgment, empathy, exceptions, and high-value relationships. The second department is sales. Sales teams are full of repeated work. Research accounts. Find contacts. Write outreach. Score leads. Send follow-ups. Book meetings. Update CRM. Summarize calls. Prepare proposals. Remind reps. Track next steps. Much of this work is not the glamorous part of sales. It is the machine around sales. Agents can help with that machine. A sales agent can watch inbound leads, enrich data, draft emails, personalize outreach, schedule meetings, and update records. The business case is clear. Faster response, better targeting, less manual CRM work, more time for human reps to close important deals. But sales agents also create risk. If everyone uses AI to send more emails, buyers get. If personalization is faked, prospects notice. If agents hallucinate details, the company looks unprofessional. If follow-up becomes too aggressive, brand trust suffers. The future of sales agents will depend on taste and restraint. The winners will not be companies that spam the most. They will be companies that use agents to find the right prospects and give humans better context. The third department is marketing. Marketing teams want agents because content demand never stops. More campaigns, more channels, more variations, more audience segments, more reports, more tests, more repurpose swapping, more personalization. An agent can turn a webinar into a blog post, 3 email drafts, 10 social posts, a sales one-pager, and a campaign summary. It can monitor competitors. It can suggest keywords. It can analyze campaign performance. It can create first drafts. It can help localized intent. This is useful, but marketing is also where bad AI becomes obvious. Generic posts, dead language, fake excitement, empty phrases, soulless brand voice, content that sounds like everyone else. Agents can increase output, but output is not strategy. The companies that win will use agents for production and analysis, while humans protect insight, taste, brand, and customer understanding. The fourth department is finance. Finance loves rules. Invoices, expense reports, approvals, reconciliations, forecast of dates, budget checks, vendor records, purchase orders, payment reminders. Agents can handle many of these workflows because they are structured, repetitive, and measurable. A finance agent can read documents, compare fields, flag exceptions, route approvals, and prepare summaries. But finance also has low tolerance for mistakes. A wrong marketing draft is embarrassing. A wrong payment can be expensive. A wrong compliance step can be serious. So finance agents need tight controls. Read-only access in some places, approval limits, audit logs, exception handling, clear ownership. This is a pattern across all serious agent deployment. The more money or risk involved, the more guardrails are needed. The fifth department is HR. HR agents can answer policy questions, help with onboarding, schedule interviews, collect documents, support training, and assist managers with routine processes. Employees often ask repeated questions. How do I request leave? Where is the benefits form? What is the travel policy? How do I update my address? When does enrollment start? Who approves this? What training do I need? An HR agent can reduce waiting and make information easier to find. But HR is sensitive. Employee data is private. Policies can have legal implications. Hiring can be biased. Performance reviews can affect careers. Workplace complaints need human care, so HR agents must be handled carefully. They are useful for administration. They are dangerous if treated as automated judges. The sixth department is legal. Legal teams are expensive and often overloaded. Agents can help review standard contracts, compare versions, summarize obligations, search documents, flag unusual clauses, and route requests. This can speed up deals, but legal mistakes can be costly. An agent should not casually approve risky terms. It should assist, not replace final judgment in high-stakes matters. Legal is a good example of the future. AI drafts and flags. Humans approve and decide. The seventh department is IT. IT support is a natural agent use case. Employees need password resets, access requests, device troubleshooting, software approvals, security reminders, and ticket updates. An IT agent can diagnose simple issues, guide employees, check permissions, create tickets, reset access within rules, and escalate real problems. Security teams may also use agents to triage alerts, summarize incidents, search logs, and recommend responses. But security agents are extremely sensitive. If an attacker checks an agent, the agent could expose data or take harmful action. So security needs strict controls and careful testing. The eighth area is operations. Operations is the hidden heart of many companies. It includes scheduling, routing, logistics, procurement, vendor management, inventory, internal approvals, compliance workflows, and reporting. Operations teams often hold companies together with spreadsheets and human memory. Agents can be powerful here because operations work is full of handoffs. But operations also contains many exceptions. The agent must know when to stop and ask. That may be the most important skill for an enterprise agent, knowing when not to act. The agent that always acts is dangerous. The agent that never acts is useless. The valuable agent acts within boundaries and escalates uncertainty. That is the practical future. Now let us talk about why companies suddenly moved from AI tools to AI agents. The word tool sounds optional. The word agent sounds like labor. That changes the imagination. A tool helps a person do work. An agent is assigned work. Companies want assignment. They want to say, handle these invoices, monitor these accounts, resolve these tickets, prepare this report every Monday, follow up with every lead, check every contract for these clauses, watch for security alerts, answer employee policy questions, create campaign summaries, route approvals. This is how managers think. They do not only think in prompts, they think in responsibilities. Agents are attractive because they can be given responsibility inside a narrow domain. This is why the agent concept fits business better than the chatbot concept. A chatbot is a conversation. A company is a workflow machine. Agents connect AI to the workflow machine. That is the whole reason this trend exploded. Now let us talk about why Arding Arwu and Arding Arlu became the agent moment. The first reason is model capability. Language models became better at following instructions using tools, reading documents, writing code, and handling longer context. They were not perfect, but they became useful enough for controlled work. The second reason is tool integration. Companies started connecting AI to CRMs ticketing systems, email, calendars, databases, spreadsheets, knowledge bases, and enterprise apps. Without tools, an agent is just a talker. With tools, it can act. The third reason is cloud infrastructure. Running agents at scale requires compute, APIs, security, monitoring, and model access. Cloud providers built platforms to support this. The fourth reason is business pressure. Companies want today ROI after the first wave of generative AI experiments. Agents offered a clearer path to measurable outcomes. The fifth reason is vendor competition. Every major enterprise software company needed an agent story. Once Salesforce, Microsoft, Google, ServiceNow, and others started selling agents, the market conversation shifted. The sixth reason is investor pressure. AI companies needed bigger narratives than chatbots. Agents promised the next phase. AI doing work. The seventh reason is work. Executives saw labor leverage. Employees saw both help and threat that made agents impossible to ignore. All of these forces arrived at once. That is why it feels sudden. It was not sudden underneath. The ingredients were building for years, but the business narrative snapped into place quickly. Now every company wants to know, where can agents create value? The answer depends on three things: repetition, data access, action boundaries. If a task is repeated often, agents may help. If the agent can access the right data, agents may help. If the action can be clearly bounded, agents may help. A bad agent use case is vague, high risk, rare, and judgment heavy. A good use case is frequent, structured, measurable, and surrounded by clear rules. That is why support tickets are easier than executive strategy. Invoice matching is easier than deciding a merger. Scheduling is easier than managing a crisis. Drafting a contract summary is easier than making a final legal call. Lab research is easier than closing a complex relationship. Good companies will start with narrow workflows. Bad companies will try to automate everything and then act surprised when it breaks. The agent hype will create both winners and failures. Some companies will save huge amounts of time. Some will waste money on pilots that never scale. Some will deploy agents without governance and create public mistakes. Some will pretend they have agents when they only have chatbots with better branding. Some will use agents to improve employee work. Some will use agents mostly to cut headcount. Some will create new roles. Some will remove entry-level pathways. This is why the agent era will be messy. But messy does not mean fake. The internet was messy. The cloud was messy. Mobile was messy. Remote work was messy. AI agents will be messy too. The important question is not, will every agent work? The important question is, will enough agents work well enough to change how companies operate? The answer is likely yes. Not overnight, not everywhere, not without mistakes, but yes, in many workflows. Now let us talk about the CFO. The CFO is one of the most important characters in the AI agent story. A CTO male of the technology. A CEO male of the vision. A CIO may worry about integration. A CHRO may worry about people. A legal team may worry about risk. But the CFO asks the question that decides budget. What is the return? Agents appeal to CFOs because they can be connected to measurable costs. Cost per ticket. Cost per lead. Cost per invoice. Cost per contract review. Cost per onboarding. Cost per report. Cost per reconciliation. Cost per support conversation. If an agent reduces one of these numbers, the business case becomes real. This is why agents are more attractive than vague AI productivity. A general chatbot might save employees time, but that time is hard to measure. A support agent that resolves 40% of Tier 1 tickets is easier to measure. A finance agent that cuts invoice processing time in half is easier to measure. A sales agent that improves lead response time is easier to measure. CFOs like measurable. This is why the agent wave may scale faster than the first chatbot wave. It attaches AI to business metrics, but CFOs also worry about hidden costs. Net usage, cloud bills, integration work, consulting fees, security reviews, change management, maintenance, monitoring, human oversight, vendor lock-in, compliance, failed pilots. An agent that looks cheap in a demo may become expensive in production. So CFOs will push for proof. The winning agent companies will show ROI quickly and clearly. They will not only say, our agent is intelligent. They will say, our agent reduced average handling time, improved first response time, and cut escalations. Business loves numbers. The agent market will be won by products that turn AI into numbers executives understand. Now let us talk about the CIO. The CIO sees a different problem. Every department wants agents. Sales wants one. HR wants one. Finance wants one. Marketing wants one. Legal wants one. Customer support wants one. Operations wants one. If the CIO says yes to everyone, the company may end up with agent chaos. Different vendors, different data access, different security models, different logs, different costs, different mistakes, different compliance risks. That is a nightmare. So the CIO wants a platform strategy. Which models are allowed? Which data can agents access? Which tools can they use? How are permissions managed? Where are logs stored? How are outputs audited? How are costs monitored? How do we prevent shadow AI? How do we stop departments from buying risky tools on their own? This is why enterprise agent adoption will often centralize before it scales. Companies may create AI councils, governance board, approved vendor lists, internal agent platforms, and security reviews. Employees may hate the bureaucracy, but without it, agents can become dangerous. A normal SaaS tool stores information. An agent can take action. That makes governance more urgent. Now let us talk about the employee. For employees, agents create mixed emotion. On one side, agents can remove boring work. No more repetitive ticket summaries. No more copying call notes into CRM. No more formatting weekly reports. No more digging through policy documents. No more manual invoice checks. No more scheduling back and forth. No more starting every email from scratch. That is genuinely useful. On the other side, employees understand the implication. If an agent removes half the work, does the company need the same number of people? Sometimes yes. The team may use the saved time for better work. Sometimes no. The company may reduce hiring, cut contractors, or shrink teams. This is why employees do not always trust the phrase, AI will free you for higher value work. They have heard versions of that before. Higher value work is real, but there is not always enough of it for everyone. Agents will create new roles. Agents, supervisors, workflow designers, operations lead, automation auditors, model risk managers, content policy designers, human escalation specialists, AI quality reviewers, data governance lead, that the number of new roles may not match the number of old tasks removed. This is the labor tension. Companies want agents because they increase leverage. Workers worry because leverage often means fewer people are needed for the same output. Both sides are rational. Now let us talk about entry-level jobs. This may be one of the biggest hidden impacts. Entry-level white-collar work often includes repetitive tasks. Research this account. Summarize this document. Draft this email. Check this spreadsheet. Update this system. Prepare this first version. Schedule this meeting. Review this simple case. Agents are good at those tasks. If companies automate too much entry-level work, they may damage the training pipeline. How does a junior worker become senior if the junior work disappears? How does a young lawyer learn contract review? How does a new analyst learn data cleaning? How does a junior salesperson learn prospect? How does a new marketer learn campaigns? How does a finance associate learn the details? This is a serious problem. Companies may save money today and weaken their talent pipeline tomorrow. The smartest companies will redesign entry-level work instead of deleting it entirely. They will use agents to help juniors learn faster, not remove learning. They will teach employees to supervise, verify, and improve agent work. They will create apprenticeships around AI augmented work. The short-sighted companies will cut the bottom of the ladder and later wonder why they cannot find experienced people. Agents do not eliminate the need for human expertise. They change how expertise is built. If companies ignore that, they will pay later. Now let us talk about the CTO. The CEO hears a different story from everyone. The CTO says agents are the future. The CFO says prove ROI. The CIO says control risk. The CHRO says employees are nervous. The legal team says be careful. The board says competitors are moving. The sales team says customers are asking. The vendors say buy now. The media says AI is changing everything. The CEO has to turn this noise into strategy. The wrong strategy is heavy. Put AI everywhere. That creates chaos. The better strategy is find the highest friction workflows where agents can create measurable value with acceptable risk. That sounds less exciting. It works better. A serious agent strategy starts with question. Where is work slow? Where is work repetitive? Where are customers waiting? Where are employees doing manual handoffs? Where does delay cost? Where are rules clear? Where is data accessible? Where are errors tolerable? Where can humans supervise? Where can success be measured? Then the company chooses a few use cases. Support triage, lead qualification, invoice processing, internal ID requests, contract summarization, employee policy QA, report generation, customer onboarding. Start narrow, measure, improve, scale. That is how agents become real, not with a giant keynote, with one ugly workflow fixed. Now let us talk about why startups love agents. For startups, agents offer to dreams. The first dream is selling agents to other companies. Build a specialized agent for a painful workflow and charge for outcomes. An agent for dental office scheduling. An agent for insurance claims. An agent for freight brokers. An agent for law firm intake. An agent for real estate. An agent for restaurant reservation. An agent for medical billing. An agent for recruiting coordination. An agent for construction paperwork. Boring niches can be gold. The second dream is using agents internally to stay small. A startup can run with fewer people. AI for support. AI for coding. AI for marketing. AI for finance. AI for sales operations. AI for research. This creates the idea of the one-person company or the 10-person unicorn. That idea is probably exaggerated, but the direction is real. Small teams can do more. Agents increase leverage for founders. This means new companies may scale with fewer employees than older companies needed. That is exciting for founders and investors. It is more complicated for labor markets. Now let us talk about big enterprise software vendors. Why are they all suddenly agent companies? Because agents defend their existing businesses and create new revenue. Salesforce wants agents inside sales and service because those are its core workflow. Microsoft wants agents inside Office. Teams get Hub Dynamics in Azure because it owns the workplace. Google wants agents inside Workspace, Cloud, Search, and Developer Tool. ServiceNow wants agents inside IT, HR, and Enterprise Work. Workday wants agents inside HR and Finance. SAP wants agents inside Enterprise Resource Planning. Oracle wants agents inside databases, cloud, and enterprise systems. HubSpot wants agents inside marketing and sales. Atlassian wants agents inside software teams. Each vendor is saying, our software already holds the workflow. Let our agents automate it. That is a strong position. The company that owns the system of record has an advantage. It already has the data. It already has permission. It already has customers. It already has workflow context. But incumbents also have a problem. Their products are often complex. Customers may not love them. Startups can build cleaner agent-native tools. Its agents reduce the need for traditional software interfaces. Incumbents may be disrupted. Imagine if users stop clicking through CRM screens and just tell an agent, update the deal, send the follow-up, and remind me next Thursday. What happens to the old software interface? The software still matters. The database still matters. The workflow still matters. But the user experience changes. Agents may become the new front end of enterprise software. That is a huge shift. The company that owns the agent interface may gain power over the company that owns the old database. This is why incumbents are moving fast. They do not want someone else's agent sitting on top of their software and owning the user relationship. The front end matters. If agents become the interface, every software company must fight to provide the agent. Now let us talk about cloud providers. Cloud companies love agents because agents consume compute. Every agent action may involve model calls, retrieval, tool use, and reasoning steps. If agents become common in enterprises, cloud usage rises. If cloud usage rises, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Oracle, and others benefit. This is why cloud providers are building agent platforms, model marketplaces, infrastructure, and developer tools. They do not just want to host agents. They want to define how agents are built. The cloud provider that becomes the easiest place to build, deploy, monitor, and govern agents can capture a major share of the AI economy. That is why agents connect to the AI cloud war. Agents are demand. Cloud is supply. The more agents companies deploy, the more cloud power they need. Now let us talk about model companies. OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta, Mistral, xAI, and others all want their models to power agents. A chatbot may use one model call. An agent may use many. It may plan, search, call tools if linked, check results, revise, and respond. That means agents can increase model usage dramatically. This is good for model companies if customers pay. It is dangerous if costs exceed revenue. Model companies need agents to be valuable enough that businesses pay for them. The agent economy could make model companies richer. It could also expose weak unit economics. If an agent takes 20 model calls to do a task worth 10 cents, the business fails. If an agent takes 5 model calls to do a task worth $20, the business works. Value per task matters. This is why agents will first scale in workflows where the business value is clear. Customer support, sales, finance, legal, IT operations. Not because these are the most glamorous, because companies can justify the cost. Now let us talk about the difference between consumer agents and enterprise agents. Consumer agents help individuals plan a trip, book a table, compare products, manage a calendar, write an email, research a topic, buy something, track a task. Enterprise agents work inside organizations, resolve tickets, process invoices, update CRMs, review contracts, handle approvals, monitor systems, coordinate onboarding, generate reports, support compliance. Enterprise agents are harder. They need permissions, audit logs, data security integration, and clear ownership. But they also have clearer willingness to pay. A consumer may not pay much for an agent that books a restaurant. A company may pay a lot for an agent that reduces support costs or speeds up sales. That is why enterprise agents are such a big business focus. The consumer agent future is exciting. The enterprise agent market may monetize faster. Now let us talk about the word suddenly. Why does it feel like every company wants agents at once? Because the first wave of generative AI created expectation without enough transformation. Companies bought AI tools. Employees experimented. The board asked for results. The CFO asked for ROI. The CIO asked for governance. The CEO asked for strategy. Agents became the answer vendors could give. Generative AI was phase 1. Agents are phase 2. Now I will actually do the work. That story is convenient. It gives the market a next chapter. Technology markets need next chapter. Cloud and infrastructure, then platforms, then serverless, then AI and chatbots, then copilots, then agents. Next will be autonomous workflows, digital labor, and agent IC organization. Some of this is real. Some of it is marketing. The two are mixed. A smart viewer should understand both. Agents are real enough to matter. Hype is loud enough to mislead. The companies that benefit will be the ones that separate real workflows from buzzwords. Now let us define agents in plain language. An AI agent is software that can take a goal, make a plan, use tools, and complete steps with some level of independence. It may not be fully autonomous. In business, it usually should not be fully autonomous. It works within boundaries. Think of it like a digital worker with a job description. The job description says what it can do, what data it can see, what tools it can use, what actions require approval, when it must escalate, How success is measured. That is the practical definition. Forget the CFI. An enterprise agent is a bounded digital worker. That simple idea is enough to change business. Because once software can be assigned work, every process becomes a candidate. Now let us discuss the levels of agent maturity. Level 1 is a helper. It suggests what a human should do. Level 2 is a draft. It prepares work for human approval. Level 3 is a doer with approval. It takes steps but asks before final action. Level 4 is a doer within limits. It can act alone for low-risk tasks. Level 5 is a supervisor of workflows. It coordinates other agents and systems. Most companies should begin at levels 1 to 3. The hype talks about level 5. The money may start at level 2. This is important. A company does not need fully autonomous AI to get value. It can get value from agents that draft, triage, summarize, route, and prepare. The journey to autonomy is gradual. That makes adoption easier. Companies can start with low-risk agents and expand as trust grows. Trust is not declared. It is earned through repeated performance. Now let us talk about trust. Trust in agents has 3 layers. First, performance trust. Does the agent do the task correctly? Second, security trust. Does the agent protect data and follow permissions? Third, judgment trust. Does the agent know when to stop? The third layer is the hardest. A useful agent must understand uncertainty. It must escalate when needed. It must not pretend to know. It must not take risky action just because it can. This is where many demos fail. They show the agent succeeding in a clean scenario. They do not show messy reality. Missing data, angry customers, conflicting policies, ambiguous requests, outdated system, edge cases, fraud, legal risk, human emotion. Enterprise agents live in messy reality. That is why evaluation matters. Companies need to test agents the way they test employees. Software and processes. What is the success rate? What mistakes occur? How severe are mistakes? How often does it escalate? Can it be audited? Can it be improved? Can it be shut off quickly? Without evaluation, the agents are a gamble. Now let us talk about the agent failure that every company fears. The agent does something wrong at scale. A human makes one bad decision. An agent can repeat a bad decision thousands of times. A refund agent issues refunds incorrectly. A sales agent sends false claims. An HR agent gives wrong policy advice. A finance agent approves duplicate payment. A legal agent misses a risky clause. An IT agent grants access it should not. A support agent closes angry customer tickets without solving them. Scale is the promise and the danger. This is why guardrails are not optional. Agents need permission limits, human approvals, audit logs, monitoring, OVX, testing, incident response, security checks, role-based access, data boundaries. The companies that treat agents like toys will get burned. The companies that treat agents like junior employees with system access will be more careful. That is a good mental model. Would you let a new intern send refunds up to any amount? No. Would you let a new intern access every employee file? No. Would you let a new intern negotiate legal terms alone? No. Then do not let an agent do it either. Start small. Limit access. Review output. Expand slowly. That is boring advice. It is also how serious companies will win. Now let us talk about why agents may change organizational design. The traditional company is built around departments: sales, marketing, support, finance, HR, legal, operations, IT, product. Each department has people, tools, managers, and workflow. Agents may cut across departments. A customer onboarding agent like needs sales data, legal documents, billing setup, support knowledge, and product usage information. A procurement agent might need finance rules, vendor contracts, security review, and legal approval. An employee onboarding agent might need HR, IT payroll, compliance, and manager coordination. This means agents expose the silos inside companies. A human can navigate silos through relationships and informal messages. An agent needs structured access and clear rules. To deploy agents well, companies may need to redesign cross-functional work. That could be a bigger change than the AI itself. Agents force companies to ask, why does this process move through 5 departments? Why is this approval manual? Why is this data duplicated? Why does no one own the whole workflow? Why do customers have to repeat themselves? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are valuable. AI agents may become catalysts for process redesign. The agent is the excuse to fix the company. Now let us talk about Agent IC Enterprise. This phrase sounds like consultant language, but the idea is simple. An Agent IC Enterprise is a company where work is partly performed by networks of AI agents supervised by humans connected to company systems and governed by rules. It is not a company with one chatbot. It is a company where agents are part of the operating model. Customer requests enter through agents. Internal questions go through agents. Reports are prepared by agents. Routine approvals are handled by agents. Sales follow-ups are managed by agents. Enhanced checks are done by agents. Humans supervise, decide, improve, and handle exceptions. That is the vision. It may take years. It may never become fully autonomous, but many companies are moving in that direction. The first step is not glamorous. It is mapping workflow. That is why the future of AI may begin with process diagrams. Now let us talk about why many agent projects will fail. Failure reason 1, the company chooses the wrong use case. It starts with something too complex, too risky, or too vague. Failure reason 2, the data is bad. The agent cannot make good decisions from messy, outdated, or incomplete information. Failure reason 3, the systems are not integrated. The agent can talk, but it cannot act. Failure reason 4, no one owns the workflow. The agent project floats between departments. Failure reason 5, security blocks everything late. The team builds a demo before asking what data access is allowed. Failure reason 6, no measurement. The company cannot prove the agent saved money or improved outcomes. Failure reason 7, employees do not trust it. They ignore it, fight it, or use workarounds. Failure reason 8, executives expect magic. They think agents can fix bad processes instantly. Failure reason 9, the vendor overpromises. The agent works in a demo but not in production. Failure reason 10, the company automates before simplifying. It makes a bad process faster. These failures will happen everywhere. They do not mean agents are useless. They mean deployment is hard. Now let us talk about what successful companies will do differently. They will start with a painful workflow. They will define success clearly. They will clean the data needed for that workflow. They will limit the agent's permission. They will involve the employees who know the process. They will test with real edge cases. They will monitor output. They will keep humans in the loop. They will measure ROI. They will expand only after trust is built. Successful agent adoption is not a technology trick. It is operational discipline. This is why some boring companies may beat flashy companies. A bank with strong process management may deploy agents more safely than a startup chasing hype. A logistics company that understands workflows may create more value than a company buying random AI tools. A retailer with clean customer data may outperform a brand with better slogans. Agents reward operational clarity. Now let us talk about the AI workforce. This phrase is powerful because it reframes software as labor. If companies start thinking of agents as workforce, they will manage them like workforce. Recruit agents, deploy agents, train agents, monitor agents, evaluate agents, retire agents, assign agents to teams, set permission, compare performance, create agent managers. This sounds strange now. It may become normal. A customer support manager may manage 50 humans and 500 agents. A finance director may manage analysts and invoice agents. A marketing lead may manage writers and content agents. An IT director may manage technicians and support agents. A legal operations manager may manage lawyers and contract agents. The org chart may include non-human workers. This is not science fiction. It is a management abstraction. If the agent does work, it has to be managed. The new job title may not be agent manager. It may be a operations lead, workflow automation manager, or digital labor supervisor. But the work will exist. Now let us talk about the control room. The future company may look less like rows of people doing repetitive tasks and more like a control room. Humans watch workflows. Agents handle routine steps. Dashboards show exceptions. Alerts surface risk. Managers adjust rules. Specialists handle complex cases. This is already how many technical systems work. AI agents may bring that model to white-collar departments. The employee becomes less of a task performer and more of a process supervisor. That can be empowering if done well. It can be stressful if one person is expected to supervise too many agents with too little control. Companies must be careful. If they remove people too quickly, remaining employees may become overloaded with exceptions. The easy work disappears, leaving only hard, stressful cases. Support workers may handle only angry customers. HR workers may handle only sensitive problems. Legal teams may handle only risky escalation. Finance teams may handle only anomalies. That can increase burnout. Automation does not always make human work easier. Sometimes it removes the simple tasks that gave people breathing room. This is another hidden risk. Good design matters. Now let us talk about customer experience. Companies want agents because customers want speed. Customers do not want to wait 3 days for a simple answer. They do not want to repeat account details. They do not want to sit on hold. They do not want to search through help articles. They do not want to chase updates. Agents can improve customer experience if they solve problems quickly. But customers also hate bad automation. They hate being trapped. They hate fake empathy. They hate wrong answers. They hate not being able to reach a human. They hate bots pretending to understand when they do not. The best customer-facing agents will be honest, useful, and easy to escalate. The worst will become walls. Companies must remember, automation is only good customer experience if the customer gets what they need. Closing a ticket is not the same as solving a problem. Now let us talk about the psychology of executives. Executives like agents because agents create the feeling of control. The company is messy. People are unpredictable. Workflows are slow. Departments disagree. Dashboards are delayed. Agents promise a more programmable company. A manager can define a workflow. The agent follows it. The dashboard tracks it. The exceptions appear. The process becomes visible. This is appealing. But companies are not machines. They are social systems. Too much automation can miss human nuance. Too much control can reduce trust. Too much metric optimization can harm quality. Too much reliance on agents can weaken institutional knowledge. The best executives will use agents to reduce waste, not erase humanity. The worst executives will see agents as a way to squeeze employees and hide behind automation. Both types will exist. Now let us talk about regulation. As agents take action, regulators will care more. If an agent affects credit, hiring, insurance, healthcare, legal rights, employment, or consumer pricing, rules may apply. If an agent uses personal data, privacy laws matter. If an agent makes misleading claims, consumer protection matters. If an agent discriminates, civil rights laws matter. If an agent causes financial harm, liability matters. Companies cannot say, "The AI did it." That will not be enough. They need accountability. Who approved the agent? Who set the policy? Who monitored it? Who reviewed errors? Who owned the work? Who informed the customer? Who keeps logs? The agent terror will create legal questions. This may slow adoption in regulated industries, but it will not stop it. It will make governance a competitive advantage. Companies that can prove safe, auditable agent workflows will win trust. Now let us talk about agent security. Agents are dangerous because they connect language to action. A normal chatbot can be tricked into saying something wrong. An agent can be tricked into doing something wrong. This creates risks like prompt injection. A malicious email could contain instructions that try to manipulate an agent. A web page that hide text telling the agent to ignore rules. The user could try to make the agent reveal data. A compromised tool could feed bad information. An agent with too many permissions could become a security hole. This is why security teams are cautious. The solution is not to ban agents. The solution is layered defense, least privilege, tool permissions, input, output validation, human approval for sensitive actions, logging, sandboxing, monitoring, read team testing, data access controls, clear escalation paths. Enterprise agents need security architecture. A company that ignores this may learn the hard way. Now let us talk about why every company wants agents despite all these risks. Because the upside is enormous. Imagine customer support without long queues, sales follow-up without forgotten leads, finance close without endless manual checks, HR onboarding without confusion, legal review without weeks of waiting, IT support without repetitive tickets, managers without constant status chasing, employees without manual admin, customers without waiting. That is attractive. Even if only half of it comes true, the business impact is large. Companies do not need agents to be perfect. They need them to improve the current process enough. The current process is often worse than people admit. Slow, manual, inconsistent, expensive, hard to scale, dependent on tribal knowledge, full of delays. Agents compete against that reality, not against perfection. That is why they will be adopted. Now let us talk about the final shape of the agent economy. There will be model providers, cloud providers, agent platforms, enterprise software vendors, vertical agent startups, consulting firms, security companies, evaluation tools, monitoring platforms, data governance providers, workflow designers, training companies, regulators, insurance providers. A whole ecosystem will grow around agents. This is what happens when a technology touches work itself. It creates supporting industries. The agent economy will not be one product. It will be a stack. At the bottom, chips and cloud. Above that, models. Above that, tools and data connectors. Above that, agent orchestration. Above that, workflow applications. Above that, human supervision and governance. Every layer has business opportunity. That is why the market is so crowded. Now let us tell the story from the perspective of a single task. A customer asks, "Can I return this product? It arrived late and I need a replacement before Friday." In the old world, the customer submits a ticket. A support rep reads it. They check the order system. They check shipping. They check return policy. They check inventory. They maybe ask a manager. They write a reply. They update the ticket. They create a replacement order. They close the case. That could take hours or days. In the agent world, the agent reads the message. It understands the issue. It checks the order. It sees the delay. It checks return policy. It checks inventory. It offers replacement options. It creates the replacement if allowed. It sends the response. It updates the record. It flags the shipping issue. A human only enters if the case is high value, suspicious, emotional, or outside policy. That is one task. Now multiply by millions. That is the agent business case. The power is not in one impressive answer. It is in thousands of small actions. This is why agents feel boring in detail but revolutionary at scale. Now let us talk about the future customer expectation. Once customers experience instant resolution in one place, they expect it everywhere. If one bank answers instantly, the next bank feels slow. If one airline handles changes quickly, the next airline feels outdated. If one software company resolves issues immediately, competitors look worse. If one retailer handles returns smoothly, customers remember. Agents can raise the service standard. This creates competitive pressure. Even companies that do not love AI may adopt agents because customers expect faster service. That is how technology spread. First it is advantage, then it is expectation, then it is table stakes. Now let us talk about agent fatigue. There is a risk that every company deploys bad agents and customers get tired of them. People may start hating AI interactions if they feel trapped, manipulated, or ignored. Employees may reject agents if tools make work worse. Managers may lose faith if pilots fail. The agent industry must avoid repeating the worst chatbot era. Old chatbots damage trust because they were often used to avoid helping customers. AI agents must be used to solve, not deflect. The companies that remember this will stand out. Now let us talk about the moral question. Should companies automate as much as possible? The business answer might be yes. The human answer is more complicated. Some work should be automated because it is dull, repetitive, and wasteful. Some work should remain human because it involves care, trust, accountability, creativity, or moral judgment. Some work should be redesigned so humans and agents collaborate. Some work should not exist at all because it was created by bad system. The question is not, can we automate this? The better question is, should this work be automated, augmented, simplified, or eliminated? Agents give companies power. Power needs judgment. Now let us talk about what happens if agents really work. Company size may change. Revenue per employee may rise. Entry-level roles may shrink or change. Software pricing may shift from seats to outcomes. Cloud usage may grow. Digital labor may become a normal budget category. Managers may supervise agent fleets. Customers may expect. Workers may need new skills. Regulators may create new rules. Outsourcing may be disrupted. Small businesses may gain leverage. Big platforms may become more powerful. Specialized agent startups may build big businesses. That is a lot of change from one idea. Software that can act. This is why every company suddenly wants AI agent. They see a possible new operating model. Not everyone can explain it clearly. Not everyone will implement it well. Not everyone will get ROI quickly. But they can feel that something important shifted. The first wave of AI answered questions. The next wave is trying to complete work. That difference is enough to move markets. Now let us bring the story to the boardroom again. A CEO looks at next year's plan. Revenue targets are up. Budgets are tight. Customers are impatient. Competitors are moving. Software vendors are pitching agents. Employees are experimenting with AI anyway. The board wants an AI strategy. The CEO does not need to believe in science fiction. They only need to believe that some repetitive work can be automated. That is an easy belief. So they ask, where do we start? That question is the beginning of the agent era. Not can AI think like a human, but can this agent handle the next step in the workflow? That is a much more practical question. And it has many practical answers. Yes, it can draft. Yes, it can summarize. Yes, it can triage. Yes, it can route. Yes, it can check. Yes, it can update. Yes, it can escalate. Yes, it can monitor. Yes, it can follow up. Each yes moves another piece of work into software. This will not happen all at once, but it will happen piece by piece. And that is how companies change. Not through one giant transformation. 2,000s of small workflow decisions. A support ticket here. An invoice there. A sales follow-up here. An HR question there. Agent track summary here. A security alert there. And agents assist departments. Then they operate inside departments. Then departments reorganize around them. That is the path. Now let us close with the simplest explanation. Every company suddenly wants AI agents because every company has work that is too repetitive for humans, too messy for old automation, and too expensive to keep scaling the old way. Agents sit in that gap. They are more flexible than old automation, more action-oriented than chatbots, more measurable than vague productivity tools, more scalable than hiring, more exciting than another dashboard. That does not make them magic. It makes them useful enough to chase. The companies that chase wisely may become faster, leaner, and better. The companies that chase blindly may create chaos, risk, and disappointed employees. The companies that ignore the shift may find competitors moving faster. This is why the agent boom is real. Not because the word sounds futuristic, because the pain inside companies is real. The pain of waiting, the pain of manual work, the pain of software sprawl, the pain of rising costs, the pain of customers expecting instant answers, the pain of managers drowning in coordination, the pain of employees doing robotic tasks. AI agents promise relief from that pain. That promise is why budgets are opening, why vendors are rebranding, why consultants are writing playbooks, why cloud providers are building platforms, why startups are raising money, why employees are paying attention, why boards are asking questions. The agent era is not about replacing every human with a machine. It is about replacing the old assumption that every business process must wait for a human to push it. That assumption is starting to break. Once work can move without constant human pushing, the shape of the company changes. That is the real story. The company of the future may not be fully automated. It may not be run by robots. It may not look like science fiction. It may look like a normal company from the outside. Customers still ask questions. Sales teams still close deals. Finance still pays vendors. HR still supports employees. Legal still reviews risk. Managers still make decisions. But underneath, hundreds or thousands of agents may be moving the routine work in the background. Reading, checking, drafting, routing, updating, escalating, monitoring, following up, quietly. That is why every company wants AI agents, because the best kind of automation does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it just makes the work move before anyone has to ask. And in business, the company that moves faster usually gets the first chance to win. There is one more reason agents are spreading so fast. They give companies a story they can tell internally. Every major technology shift needs a story. Cloud had a story. Stop buying servers, rent what you need. Mobile had a story. Put the internet in everyone's pocket. SaaS had a story. Stop installing software. Subscribe to it. Generative AI had a story. Ask anything. Create anything. Draft anything. Agents have a story. Let AI do the work. That story is easy to remember. It is easy to sell. It is easy to put in a board presentation. It is easy for vendors to pack it. It is easy for executives to repeat. The story may be oversimplified, but simple stories move markets. This is why every company suddenly has an agent roadmap. Sometimes the roadmap is serious. Sometimes it is branding. Sometimes it is a list of pilots with new names. Sometimes it is a true transformation effort. But the language has changed. In business, language matters because language guides budgets. When a project is called automation, it may be seen as back office efficiency. When it is called AI agents, it becomes strategic. That is a big difference. The same invoice workflow that sounded boring last year now sounds like digital labor transformation. This may sound cynical, but it is how corporate priorities shift. A new label can unlock attention. Then, if the underlying technology works, the label becomes a real category. That is what is happening with agents. Some of the hype is just new language on old automation. But some of it is genuinely new because language models can handle ambiguity that old automation could not. Old automation was brittle. It needed clear rules. If this, then that. If the invoice field matches, approve. If the email contains this keyword, route it. If the status changes, send a message. That worked for clean processes. It struggled with messy human language. AI agents can read messy requests. A customer does not have to use the exact phrase. An employee can ask a policy question in their own words. A vendor can send an invoice in a strange format. A sales lead can reply with a vague message. A contract can contain unusual language. A support ticket can mix anger, confusion, and missing details. This flexibility is what makes agents different. They can operate in the messy middle between rigid software and human judgment. That middle is huge. Most business work is not pure creativity. It is not pure rules either. It is semi-structured. There is a pattern, but also variation. There is a process, but also exception. There are rules, but also context. AI agents fit that semi-structured world. That is why they are so attractive. Old automation failed when the process got messy. Humans handled the mess. Agents promised to handle more of the mess. Again, not all of it. Not perfectly, but enough to matter. Now let us talk about agent networks. The first agent deployments may be single agents, support agent, sales agent, invoice agent, HR agent. But eventually, companies will connect agents. A customer onboarding agent may talk to a billing agent. The billing agent may talk to a compliance agent. The compliance agent may talk to a legal agent. The legal agent may ask a human lawyer for approval. Then the onboarding agent continues. This creates agent networks. The opportunity is huge. The risk is also huge. If one agent makes a bad assumption, other agents may build on it. If permissions are too loose, errors can move across systems. If no one understands the full chain, accountability becomes unclear. Agent networks need orchestration. Who coordinates the agents? What happens when they disagree? Which agent has authority? How are conflicts resolved? How are loops prevented? How does a human inspect the chain? How do we stop agents from taking repeated actions? This is where enterprise architecture becomes critical. The future is not just many agents. It is governed systems of agents. The companies that build this well may create enormous value. The companies that let agents multiply without control may create chaos. Now let us talk about the word autonomous. It is one of the most dangerous words in the agent market. Autonomy sounds exciting. It also scares serious buyers. Most enterprises do not want fully autonomous agents. They want controlled autonomy. An agent can act alone in low-risk situations. It must ask permission in medium-risk situations. It must escalate high-risk situations. That is how human organizations work too. A junior employee can answer common questions. They ask a manager before giving a large refund. They ask legal before changing contract terms. They ask finance before approving unusual spending. Agents should work the same way. The question is not, is the agent autonomous? The question is, autonomous within what boundary? That boundary is the product. A great agent product is not only a smart model. It is a carefully designed boundary system. Now let us talk about agent memory. Agents become more useful when they remember context. A customer service agent that remembers previous issues can respond better. A sales agent that remembers account history can personalize outreach. An HR agent that remembers employee status can guide onboarding. A coding agent that understands a repository can be more helpful. A personal assistant that knows preferences can act faster. Memory creates value. Memory also creates privacy risk. What should the agent remember? Who can access that memory? Can the user delete it? Can the company audit it? Can it be used for training? Can it leak between users? Can it create unfair decisions? Memory is one of the battlegrounds of agent trust. Companies will need policies for agent memory. No memory means limited usefulness. Too much memory means risk. The right answer depends on the use case. Now let us talk about agent personality. For enterprise workflows, personality is often less important than reliability. A support agent should be clear, polite, and accurate. A finance agent should be precise. A legal agent should be cautious. A sales agent should be professional. An HR agent should be empathetic but not overconfident. Too much personality can be dangerous. A charming agent that is wrong is worse than a boring agent that is correct. This is important because consumer AI often emphasizes friendliness in conversation. Enterprise agents need role discipline. They should act like trained employees, not random entertainers. Now let us talk about agent marketplaces again from the buyer side. A future operations manager might browse a marketplace and see accounts payable agent, policy QA agent, customer return agent, sales prospecting agent, procurement review agent, security alert agent. Each promises savings. The manager clicks install. That sounds easy, but real companies are not app stores. Every workflow is context. Every policy has exceptions. Every system has custom fields. Every customer base has quirks. Every department has informal rules. So agents may need onboarding just like employees. You hire an agent. You train it on company policy. You give it access. You test it. You supervise it. You review its performance. You adjust its boundaries. This is a useful mental model. Buying an agent is not like buying a calculator. It is like hiring a very fast junior worker that needs rules. Now let us talk about agent training. In many cases, agent training will not mean training a foundation model from scratch. It will mean configuring the agent, instructions, policies, knowledge sources, tool access, examples, escalation rules, tone, permissions, evaluation sets. This is closer to onboarding than model training. Companies will need people who know how to translate business process into agent instruction. That role could be valuable. A workflow designer who understands both the business and AI behavior can create reliable agents. This may become one of the most important jobs in the agent economy. Now let us talk about agents and company knowledge. A company with clean knowledge will benefit more than a company with tribal knowledge. Tribal knowledge lives in people's heads. Agents cannot access it unless it is documented or connected. This creates a new incentive. Document the business. The companies that document processes, policies, customer issues, product details, and decision rules will be able to automate more safely. The companies that rely on Ask Sarah, she knows will struggle if Sarah is unavailable or leave. Agents make institutional knowledge more valuable. They also make the loss of undocumented knowledge more dangerous. Now let us talk about the human supervisor. These human supervising agents needs a different mindset. They need to ask, is the agent handling the right cases? What mistakes are recurring? Are escalations appropriate? Are customers satisfied? Are costs under control? Are policies up to date? Are edge cases increasing? Does the agent need new examples? Should permissions change? This is analytical and managerial. Some employees will enjoy this shift. Others will miss direct work. Companies should not assume everyone wants to become an AI supervisor. Work identity matters. A customer support person may take pride in helping customers directly. If their job becomes reviewing escalations and agents, that may feel A writer may enjoy writing, not editing AI drafts all day. A finance analyst may enjoy analysis, not checking machine outputs. The agent transition changes how work feels, not just how fast it moves. That human side matters. Now let us talk about human in the loop. This phrase is everywhere. It usually means a human reviews or approves AI action. But there are different kinds of human in the loop. A human before action. The agent drafts, human approves. A human after action. The agent acts, human audit samples. The human on exception. The agent handles normal cases. Human handles escalations. A human on policy. The human designs rules, agent operates within them. A human on monitoring. The human watches metrics and failure patterns. Companies must choose the right type. Not every task needs pre-approval. Not every task should be fully autonomous. The design depends on risk. This is how serious agent systems will work. Now let us talk about why agents are attractive in a high-cost labor environment. When wages rise, hiring is hard, and customers demand more, companies look for leverage. Agents are leveraged. They allow one person to handle more work. They allow teams to scale without hiring at the same rate. They reduce the need for night shifts in some workflows. They make chief and artist operations cheaper. They help companies manage demand spikes. This does not mean labor disappears, but it changes the ratio between output and headcount. Revenue per employee may become a key or a metric. Investors will watch it. Executives will brag about it. Workers will feel the pressure behind it. Now let us talk about the dark side of that metric. If companies become obsessed with doing more with fewer people, work can become harsh. Remaining employees may manage too much. Entry-level roles may vanish. Customer interactions may become colder. Human expertise may erode. The stakes may be hidden in automated systems. The company may become efficient but fragile. Efficiency is not the same as resilience. A company needs enough human knowledge to handle surprises. Agents can help with routine work. Crises still require people who understand the system deeply. If automation removes too much practical experience, the company may struggle during unusual events. This is another reason to keep humans meaningfully involved. Now let us talk about the future of middle management. Agents may reduce some coordination work, but then they also create new management complexity. Managers may need to oversee human agent teams. They may need to interpret agent metrics. They may need to decide when to automate and when not to. They may need to handle employee anxiety. They may need to redesign roles. They may need to manage vendors and governance. Bad managers will use agents as a blunt instrument. Good managers will use them as leverage while protecting team health. The agent era may expose management quality. Now let us talk about agent adoption by industry. Retail, returns, support, inventory alerts, product recommendations, merchandising, customer messages, banking, fraud triage, customer service, compliance support, loan processing, internal research, insurance, claims intake, document review, policy questions, risk summaries, healthcare, scheduling, billing, patient messaging, documentation support, administrative workflows, manufacturing, maintenance alerts, supply chain coordination, quality reports, procurement, travel and hospitality, booking changes, customer requests, loyalty support, itinerary updates, software, coding agents, support agents, sales agents, product analytics, government, citizen service, form guidance, internal document search, case routing, education, tutoring support, administrative assistance, student services. Every industry has repeated work. That is why the agent market is broad. But each industry has different risk. A retail return agent can be more autonomous than a healthcare diagnosis agent. A hotel booking agent can act more freely than a loan approval agent. A coding assistant can suggest changes, but critical systems need review. Risk decides autonomy. Now let us talk about agent strategy for a company starting today. Step 1, inventory repetitive workflows. Step 2, rank them by business pain and risk. Step 3, choose 1 or 2 low-risk, high-volume use cases. Step 4, define the exact job of the agent. Step 5, connect only the data and tools needed. Step 6, set approval rules. Step 7, test with real historical cases. Step 8, deploy to a small group. Step 9, measure outcomes. Step, expand carefully. This is not flashy. It is how real change happens. Companies that skip steps may get impressive demos and disappointing production results. Now let us talk about why agent adoption may look slow, then sudden. Early work is invisible. Data cleanup, integration, security review, process mapping, evaluation, pilot design. Then one day the workflow changes. Tickets resolve faster. Reports appear automatically. Invoices route themselves. Leads get followed up instantly. Employees get answers without HR. To outsiders, it looks sudden. Inside, it took months of preparation. This is common in technology adoption. The visible shift comes after invisible groundwork. Now let us talk about what every company really means. Not every company will build agents in-house. Not every company will have a sophisticated AI team. Not every company will call them agents. Not every company will deploy them safely. But almost every company will use software that includes agents. Your CRM will have agents. Your help desk will have agents. Your office suite will have agents. Your HR system will have agents. Your accounting tool will have agents. Your project management software will have agents. Your cloud platform will have agents. Your website chat will have agents. Companies may adopt agents even if they never launch an AI agent project. The agents will arrive inside the software they already use. That is why adoption can be so broad. It is not only a top-down transformation. It is a product update. This is exactly why enterprise vendors are racing. They can ship agents into existing customer bases. Now let us talk about the danger of silent adoption. If agents arrive as features, companies may not govern them properly. A department turns on an AI feature. Employees start using it. Data flows through it. Actions happen. No central review occurs. This is shadow AI. CIOs and security teams fear it. Companies need clear policies. Which AI tools are approved? What data can be used? What actions are allowed? Who reviews agent deployments? How are incidents reported? Without policy, adoption still happens. It just happens blindly. Now let us talk about agent benchmarks. Benchmarks can be misleading. A model may perform well on a test but fail in a company workflow. A demo may show the agent completing a clean task, but real cases are messy. A benchmark may not measure security, escalation, or business value. Companies need workflow-specific evaluation. For a support agent, resolution accuracy, escalation quality, customer satisfaction, policy compliance, average handling time, refund error rate. For a finance agent, invoice match accuracy, duplicate detection, approval correctness, exception routing, audit completeness. For a sales agent, lead quality, response accuracy, CRM update quality, meeting conversion, brand safety. For an HR agent, policy accuracy, privacy compliance, employee satisfaction, escalation of sensitive cases. General AI intelligence is not enough. Workflow performance matters. Now let us talk about agents and trust with customers. Customers may accept AI agents if the agent solves the problem. The agent is fast. The agent is honest. The agent can escalate. The agent does not pretend to be human in sensitive context. The agent respects customer history. The agent does not trap them. Customers will reject AI agents if they feel ignored. They get wrong answers. They cannot reach a human. The agent repeats scripts. The agent hides company responsibility. The agent creates more work. The lesson is simple. Use agents to serve customers, not avoid them. Now let us talk about agents and brand. Every agent becomes a brand representative. A bad agent can damage trust. A helpful agent can improve loyalty. Companies spend years building brand voice. An agent can ruin it in one interaction. This is why marketing, legal support, and brand teams need to be involved in customer-facing agents. Tone matters. Accuracy matters. Escalation matters. An agent is not just a technical object. It is part of the customer experience. Now let us talk about agents and personalization. Agents can personalize interactions using customer data. This can be useful, but personalization can feel creepy. A good agent says, "I see your order is delayed. I can help." A creepy agent says too much fee. "I noticed you were browsing this product at Ardeshasanthan, and your last 3 purchases suggest you may want." Companies need restraint. Just because an agent can use data does not mean it should. Trust requires taste. Now let us talk about the next wave agents that negotiate. Some companies may use agents to negotiate pricing, contracts, renewals, or procurement terms. This is powerful and risky. If buyer agents and seller agents negotiate with each other, business interactions could change. Software purchasing, travel booking, advertising, freight, insurance, and procurement could become more automated. But negotiation involves strategy, trust, and legal consequences. Agents may assist before they fully negotiate. Still, this future is coming in pieces. Agents will first prepare negotiation briefs, compare options, suggest terms, and draft responses. Then they may handle low-value negotiations within limits. Now let us talk about agents and communication overload. Email, Slack, Teams, and notifications have made work noisy. Agents can reduce noise by summarizing, prioritizing, and routing. They can say, these are the 3 messages that matter. This thread needs your decision. This request can be handled automatically. This meeting produced these tasks. This could make work calmer. But agents can also create more noise if poorly designed. More automated messages, more summaries nobody reads, more alerts, more robotic follow-ups. The goal should be less noise, not faster noise. Now let us talk about agent-generated work. If agents create more output, companies may drown in output. More report, more emails, more documents, more dashboard, more campaign variants, more meeting summaries. Output is not value. Value comes from better decisions, faster resolution, happier customers, lower cost, and higher revenue. Companies must avoid measuring agents by volume alone. An agent that creates 10 useless reports is not productive. An agent that creates 1 useful alert at the right time is valuable. This is a key lesson. Now let us talk about agents and decision rights. In every company, someone has the right to decide. Can the agent decide? Can it recommend? Can it execute? Can it approve? Can it reject? Can it escalate? These rights must be explicit. A vague agent is dangerous. For each workflow, define, the agent may decide these things, the agent may recommend these things, the agent must ask approval for these things. The agent must never do these things. This is basic governance. It will become standard. Now let us talk about the agent control panel. Future companies may have dashboards showing tasks completed, success rates, cost, escalations, errors, customer satisfaction, policy violation, data access, model usage, workflow bottlenecks. This becomes the new operations center. Instead of only managing human teams, leaders manage hybrid workflows. The agent dashboard may become as important as the CRM or ERP dashboard. This is a new category. Now let us talk about why agents are not simply RPA de Leon, robotic process automation, automated repetitive digital tasks for years. It clicked buttons, moved data, followed rules. RPA was useful but brittle. If the screen changed, it broke. If the input was messy, it struggled. If the workflow required language understanding, it needed help. Ion agents can be more flexible because they understand language and context better. But RPA taught important lessons. Automation projects need process clarity. Maintenance matters. Bad workflows should not be automated blindly. Governance matters. ROI matters. Agents inherit those lessons. A company that failed at RPA can still succeed with agents if it learned why it failed. A company that ignores those lessons may repeat the same mistakes with more expensive tools. Now let us talk about agents and APIs. Agents are much more useful when systems have APIs. An API lets software talk to software. If a company has modern systems with good APIs, agents can act more cleanly. If systems are old, closed, or inconsistent, agents may struggle. This is why legacy modernization matters. Agent adoption may push companies to upgrade old systems. That creates more business for cloud providers, consultants, and software vendors. The agent boom can pull the rest of digital transformation behind it. Now let us talk about agent ICAI in the public sector. Government agencies deal with forms, cases, citizen questions, benefits, permits, inspections, and internal documents. Agents could help citizens navigate complex systems. They could reduce waiting times. They could support caseworkers. They could summarize policies. But government agents need transparency, fairness, accessibility, and accountability. A wrong answer about benefits, immigration, taxes, or health care can harm people. So public sector adoption may be cautious but important. If done well, agents could make government services easier to use. If done badly, they could deepen mistrust. Now let us talk about agents in healthcare administration. Healthcare is full of administrative burden. Scheduling, insurance verification, billing codes, prior authorization, patient messages, clinical documentation, follow-ups, referral coordination. Agents can help reduce paperwork. That could give doctors and nurses more time with patients. But healthcare is high stakes. Clinical decisions require careful oversight. Privacy is strict. Errors can harm people. The biggest near-term opportunity may be administrative, not diagnostic. This is a common pattern. Agents start where risk is lower and burden is high. Now let us talk about agents and law firms. Law firms bill for time. Agents reduce time. That creates a business. If an agent can review documents faster, clients may expect lower bills. Firms may use agents to improve margins. Junior associate work may change. Legal research may speed up. Contract review may become more efficient. But law depends on responsibility and judgment. AI can help draft and summarize. Lawyers remain accountable. The legal industry will adopt agents carefully, but it cannot ignore them. Clients will ask why simple work takes so long if AI can help. Now let us talk about agents and finance. Financial services are heavily regulated and process-heavy. Agents can help with compliance, customer service, code triads, internal research, reporting, and document review. But model risk management becomes critical. Banks already understand model governance from traditional risk models. They may apply similar discipline to AI agents. This could make financial firms slower but safer. Once they trust a workflow, adoption can scale. Now let us talk about agents and manufacturing. Manufacturing companies have physical operations, supply chains, maintenance schedules, quality checks, and procurement work. Agents can monitor equipment data, summarize maintenance issues, coordinate suppliers, analyze quality reports, and support operators. The combination of AI agents and physical systems may become powerful, but physical consequences matter. An agent suggesting the wrong maintenance action could be costly. Human oversight remains essential. Now let us talk about agents and retail. Retailers can use agents for customer service, product recommendations, inventory alerts, pricing analysis, vendor communication, and return. Retail is attractive because margins are tight and customer volume is high. Small improvements matter. A retailer that handles returns faster, answers product questions better, and improves inventory decisions can gain advantage. Agents fit this world well. Now let us talk about agents in media. Media companies can use agents for research, transcription, summarization, editing assistance, archive search, audience analysis, and content for purpose swapping, but they must be careful with originality, accuracy, and rights. AI-generated low-quality content damage brand trust. Agents should support journalists and creators, not replace editorial judgment blindly. Now let us talk about the economy-wide effect. If agents improve productivity, companies may produce more with fewer resources. That could boost economic. But if gains concentrate among platform owners and large companies, inequality could rise. If workers are displaced faster than new roles appear, social stress grows. If small businesses get access to agents, they may compete better. If only large companies can deploy agents safely, big firms may gain more power. The outcome depends on access, training, regulation, and business choices. Technology does not distribute benefits automatically. Now let us talk about AI agent literacy for leaders. A leader does not need to code an agent, but they should understand what agents can and cannot do, where risk appears, how to measure ROI, how data quality affects performance, why human oversight matters, why vendors may overpromise, how agent economics work, how employee roles will change. Leaders who treat agents as magic will fail. Leaders who treat agents as operational systems have a chance. Now let us talk about the cultural shift from using AI to working with AI. Using AI means, I ask, it answers. Working with AI means, I assign, it acts. I supervise, we improve the workflow. That is a deeper relationship. Companies must train people for that. Employees should learn how to delegate to agents, review their work, and refine processes. Delegation is a skill. Bad delegation to humans creates bad results. Bad delegation to agents does too. Now let us talk about agent overload. If every team creates agents, employees may have to deal with too many AI systems. A sales agent, a support agent, a meeting agent, a reporting agent, an HR agent, an IT agent, a finance agent, a project agent. This could become confusing. Companies may need a unified agent interface or a central assistant that coordinates specialized agents. This is why platform companies want to build the main agent layer. If one assistant becomes the front door to many agents, that assistant owns user attention. This is another platform battle. Now let us talk about who becomes the agent operating system. Microsoft wants Copilot to be the work agent layer. Google wants Gemini and Workspace and Cloud. OpenAI wants ChatGPT to become a universal assistant and agent platform. Salesforce wants Agentforce and Sales and Service. ServiceNow wants agents for enterprise workflow. Amazon wants agents built on AWS. Apple may bring agents to personal devices. Meta may bring agents into messaging and social platforms. The agent OS is a giant prize. Whoever controls the interface between humans and agents may control how work gets assigned. That is platform power. Now let us talk about why this scares software incumbents. If users interact through an agent, they may not care which software tool is underneath. They ask, find the customer record and send a follow-up. The agent may use CRM in the background, but the user does not open the CRM. If this becomes common, the software interface loses value. The agent interface gains value. This could shift power from systems of record to systems of action. The system of record stores data. The system of action gets work done. Agents are systems of action. That is why the agent layer is so strategic. Now let us talk about what happens to analytics. If agents can not only report what happened, but suggest and execute next steps, analytics becomes more operational. Old analytics. Here is a dashboard showing customer churn. Agent, I see analytics. Churn risk increased in these accounts. I drafted outreach for the account managers, scheduled follow-ups, and flagged 3 product issues for review. That is a different product. Business intelligence becomes business action. This is attractive because many dashboards are ignored. Agents can turn insight into work, but again, action must be controlled. Now let us talk about the future of email. Email is full of repetitive work. Read, prioritize, reply, forward, schedule, follow up, summarize, archived. Agents can help dramatically, but email is also risky because it contains sensitive information and external attacks. An email agent must be careful with permissions and prompt injection. Still, email agents may become one of the most common forms of AI assistant. Everyone hates email overload. That pain is universal. Now let us talk about calendar agents. Scheduling is a perfect example of annoying work. Find times, check availability, coordinate time zone, reschedule, add links, send reminders, update attendees. Agents can handle much of this. This may seem small, but small frictions across millions of workers add up. The agent economy is built on removing small frictions at scale. Now let us talk about agents and procurement of software itself. Ironically, agents may help companies buy agents. A procurement agent could compare vendors, read security documents, summarize contracts, and route approvals. This means I may speed up AI adoption. Once companies trust agents for procurement, software sales cycles could change. Vendors may have to sell to both humans and AI evaluators. This opens another strange future. Websites and documentation optimized for AI agents that compare products. Marketing will change. Now let us talk about agent-to-agent commerce. A buyer's agent asks the seller's agent for pricing. The seller's agent responds. The buyer's agent compares alternatives. A human approves. A purchase happens. This could start with simple categories: business travel, software renewals, office supplies, ad buying, freight quotes. If this grows, companies will need to design their digital presence for agents, not only humans. That is a major shift. Search engine optimization may become agent optimization. Sales pages may need machine-readable trust. Reviews, documentation, pricing, and policies may need to be structured for AI consumption. The internet could change around agents. Now let us talk about why now from a technical view in plain language. Agents became possible because models got better at three things: understanding messy language, following instructions, using tools. They also got larger context windows, meaning they can handle more information. They became better at code, which helps with tool use. They became easier to connect through APIs. Businesses began storing more work in digital systems. Cloud infrastructure made scaling possible. No single breakthrough created agents. Several improvements combined. That is often how technology shifts happen. The final product feels sudden because many quiet improvements reached a threshold. Now let us talk about good enough. This phrase matters. An agent does not need to be smarter than every employee. It needs to be good enough for a specific work. A refund agent does not need to understand philosophy. It needs to know refund policy. A sales research agent does not need to close enterprise deals. It needs to gather useful information. An invoice agent does not need creativity. It needs accuracy and escalation. Narrow agents are easier to trust. The future may not be one giant agent doing everything. It may be thousands of narrow agents doing specific work. That is more realistic. Now, let us talk about monitoring. An agent deployment without monitoring is like hiring employees and never reviewing their work. Companies need to track accuracy, cost, latency, escalations, failure modes, user satisfaction, customer satisfaction, policy compliance, security incidents, business outcomes. Monitoring makes improvement possible. Agent vendors that provide strong monitoring will win enterprise trust. Now let us talk about feedback loops. Agents can improve from feedback. Humans correct outputs. Customers rate responses. Supervisors flag mistakes. The system updates instructions or examples. The workflow improves. This creates a learning organization. But feedback must be managed carefully. Bad feedback can teach wrong behavior. Biased feedback can create biased agents. Sparse feedback can miss rare errors. Agent improvement is not automatic. It needs process. Now let us talk about agent cost. Agents can become expensive if they use powerful models to offer. A simple task should not always use the most expensive model. Companies may use model routing. Small model for easy tasks, large model for hard tasks, rules for simple actions, human escalation for uncertainty. This reduces cost. The future agent stack will be a mix of AI, rule, search, tools, and humans. Not everything needs a frontier model. This is how economics will improve. Now let us talk about the role of rules. People sometimes think AI agents replace rules. In reality, good agents often need rules. Rules define boundaries. Models handle ambiguity inside those boundaries. A refund policy is a rule. A spending limit is a rule. A privacy restriction is a rule. An escalation threshold is a rule. A legal approval requirement is a rule. The agent uses intelligence to apply rules in messy situations. Rules plus AI is stronger than either alone. Now let us talk about agent failures in public. There will be embarrassing stories. An agent gives a customer the wrong refund. An airline bot promises something the company disputes. An HR agent gives bad policy advice. A sales agent sends thousands of awkward emails. A legal agent misses a clause. A support agent refuses to escalate. A coding agent introduces a bug. These stories will spread. They will make companies more cautious. They will also help the market mature. Every technology has early failures. The question is whether the value survives them. With agents, the value is likely strong enough that companies will improve rather than abandon. Now let us talk about the difference between replacing tasks and replacing roles. Agents usually replace tasks first. A role is a bundle of tasks. If enough tasks inside a role are automated, the role changes. If most tasks are automated, the role may shrink or disappear. If new tasks appear, the role may evolve. This is why labor impact is gradual and uneven. A support rep may lose repetitive ticket work but gain escalation responsibility. A marketer may lose first drafts but gain campaign strategy work. A finance analyst may lose data entry but gain exception analysis. A recruiter may lose scheduling but gain candidate relationship work. Sometimes this is positive. Sometimes it is simply fewer jobs. It depends on business choices. Now let us talk about workforce planning. Companies need to plan for role changes before deploying agents. Which tasks will be automated? Which roles change? What training is needed? What new roles appear? How will performance be measured? How will employees be involved? What happens if productivity rises? Will the company reduce hiring, redeploy people, or expand services? Without planning, agents create anxiety and confusion. With planning, they can improve work. The difference is leadership. Now let us talk about why boards care. Boards care because AI agents touch strategy, risk, and competitiveness. They ask, are we falling behind? Are we exposed to operational risk? Could agents improve margins? Could agents disrupt our industry? Are competitors using them? Do we have governance? Do we understand legal exposure? Is management prepared? Boards may not understand all the technology, but they understand disruption. This pushes CEOs to act. Now let us talk about agent adoption as a signaling game. Companies may announce agent initiatives to signal innovation. To investors, we are AI forward. To customers, we are modern. We are transforming. To competitors, we are not asleep. Some announcements will be more signal than substance, but signaling can still lead to real investment. This is part of every tech cycle. Now let us talk about the long-term endpoint. The endpoint is not a company where no humans work. The endpoint is a company where humans and agents divide work differently. Agents handle repetition, monitoring, drafting, routing, checking, searching, summarizing, low-risk execution. Humans handle judgment, trust, strategy, creativity, ethics, relationships, complex exception, accountability, leadership. This division will vary by industry and company, but the direction is clear. Routine digital work becomes more automated. Now let us talk about the companies that will be hurt. Companies built on manual service delivery may face pressure. If their value is mostly human labor doing repetitive digital tasks, agents may reduce prices. Outsourcing firms must adapt. Agencies must show strategy, not just production. Software companies without agent strategies may be seen as old. Startups with high support costs may be pressured by agent-native competitors. Employers relying on cheap junior labor may rethink hiring. Agents will change cost structures. When cost structures change, industries change. Now let us talk about the companies that will benefit. Companies with clear workflows, strong data, modern systems, good governance, high-volume operations, expensive repetitive tasks, leadership discipline, employee training, customer trust. These companies can deploy agents productively. The winners may not be the flashiest. They may be the most operationally prepared. Now let us talk about the global labor angle. If agents automate back-office work, countries that benefited from outsourcing may be affected, but they may also build agent-enabled service businesses. A call center company can become an AI customer operations company. A business process outsourcing firm can combine human expertise with agents. A global services company can use agents to improve margin. The shift is not simply jobs moving from one country to machines. It is services being redesigned. The countries and companies that adapt may remain competitive. Those that depend on old labor because they struggle. Now let us talk about why agents make COS imagine smaller companies. For decades, growth meant headcount. More customers meant more support. More sales meant more reps. More finance work meant more analysts. More hiring meant more recruiters. Agents challenge that relationship. Growth may not require the same headcount growth. This is extremely attractive to investors. A company with rising revenue and controlled headcount can show better margins. Public markets reward that. Private investors reward that. Founders reward that. This financial incentive will push adoption. Now let us talk about the ethical tension. If agents make companies more profitable, who gets the gain? Shareholders, executives, customers through lower prices, employees through higher wages and better work, society through productivity growth. This is not decided by technology. It is decided by business choices, competition, labor markets, and policy. All agents create value. Distribution of value is the hard question. Now let us talk about the consumer side again. People may use personal agents to deal with companies. A consumer agent could call customer service, compare insurance, negotiate bills, manage subscriptions, and handle returns. If companies have agents and consumers have agents, interactions may become agent to agent. This could reduce frustration. It could also create new games. Companies may design policies to influence consumer agents. Consumers may use agents to exploit loopholes. Regulators may need to define rules. The agent economy may change not only internal business but market interaction. Now let us talk about agent identities. If agents act, they may need identities. Which agent took this action? On behalf of whom? With what permission? At what time? Using what data? With what approval? Digital identity for agents becomes important. Companies will need to manage agent credentials like employee credentials. An agent should not use a shared admin account. It needs traceability. This is a security and compliance issue. Now let us talk about agent retirement. What happens when an agent is no longer used? Disable access. Archive logs. Remove credentials. Transfer responsibilities. Update documentation. This sounds boring. It matters. An old agent with active permissions is a security risk. Agent life cycle management will become standard. Now let us talk about future audits. Auditors may ask, show us what agents did. Show us approval logs. Show us data access. Show us error handling. Show us policy updates. Show us human reviews. Companies will need records. This is why agent platforms with strong auditability will win regulated industries. Now let us talk about the emotional appeal to founders. Love the idea of agents because it promises focus. Instead of hiring a large operations team, a founder imagines one person plus agents, a small team plus agents, a global business with lean headcount. This can be real in some cases, but founders should remember, agents do not remove the need for customer understanding. They do not create strategy by themselves. They do not replace trust. They do not fix a bad product. They do not make unit economics automatically work. Agents are leverage. Leverage magnifies what exists. Good business plus agents can become stronger. Bad business plus agents can become faster. Now let us talk about agent hype cycles. There will be inflated expectations, then disappointment, then practical adoption. This happens with many technologies. The first wave says, agents will run everything. The second wave says, agents are unreliable. The third wave says, agents are useful in specific workflows with good design. The third wave is where real businesses are built. We are moving toward that. Now let us talk about what a realistic audio agent deployment might look like. Not a fully autonomous company, not a robot workforce. A support agent resolves simple tickets. A sales agent prepares account research. A finance agent flags invoice exception. An HR agent answers policy questions. An IT agent handles password resets. A meeting agent captures action items. A data agent prepares weekly summaries. Humans supervise. Metrics improve. Some roles change. Some hiring slows. The company learns. That is realistic. And if thousands of companies do that, the economy changes. Now let us talk about the final reason companies want agents. They are tired of software that only creates more work. Many tools promise productivity but added dashboards, notifications, fields, and admin tasks. Workers became servants of software. Agents promise the opposite, software that serves the worker. If delivered well, that is powerful. The best agents will make software feel less like a burden. They will hide complexity. They will complete routine work. They will bring the right information at the right time. That is the user experience dream. The danger is that agents become another layer of complexity. More tools, more alerts, more errors, more monitoring, more cost. The difference depends on design. Now let us close the story. Every company suddenly wants AI agents because the old way of scaling work feels too expensive, too slow, and too manual. Chatbots showed that AI could talk. Agents suggest that AI can work. That jump from talking to working is what business has been waiting for. Companies do not buy technology because it is impressive. They buy it because it changes the numbers. Faster service, lower cost, more output, better margins, shorter cycles, fewer bottlenecks, higher revenue per employee. Agents speak the language of business. That is why the demand is sudden. That is why the market is crowded. That is why the hype is loud. That is why the risk is real. That is why the opportunity is enormous. The next few years will not be about whether companies try agents. They already are. The real question is which companies will use them wisely. The winners will not be the ones with the most agents. They will be the ones with the clearest workflows, strongest data, best governance, and smartest human judgment. Because an agent without judgment around it is just automation with confidence. But an agent inside a well-run process can become something much more powerful. A new kind of worker, a new kind of workflow, a new layer of the company. That is why every company wants AI agent. They are not chasing a chatbot. They are chasing the possibility that work itself can move differently. And once companies see the possibility, they cannot stop asking the same question. Can we use agents for that?